Welcome to The Pulse, where we delve deep into the issues and ideas that are shaping the future of education. I'm your host, Rick Cerncy, Superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and each week we'll be talking to teachers, administrators, and other experts in the field about the latest trends, best practices, and most pressing concerns in education. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just someone who cares about education, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the pulse. Well, welcome to our podcast today, and we're here to talk to some folks from QI Roberts Junior Senior High School and the district office. And I'm very pleased to have you here and just to hear some of the high-level discussion about artificial intelligence, computer science, all of the above, and talk about some issues related to that. So first of all, I'm just going to ask each of our panel members just to briefly introduce yourself and what you do, and then we'll start the discussion. So let's start on this end, Chris.
So my name's Christopher Cantrell. I'm a teacher over at QI Roberts. I've been there for about 4 or 5 years now. I came from a journalism background. I graduated from UF, so I am a computer science teacher there, which kind of sounds crazy. But, with enough support and instruction from the district, I've been able to kind of take on that role and really give it my all there.
Well, thanks, Chris. Good to have you here. And Ian?
So I'm Ian Bose. I am the math department head, so I teach the calculus and pre-calculus at QI, but I also have the honor of being Putnam County's 2025 Teacher of the Year.
And Ian's actually been on before and actually interviewed me. He's got his own podcast called...
Yep, the Bose Knows podcast, so you can check that out on all your podcast players if you're interested in some other Putnam County and education-related content.
Yeah, and that's a paid political announcement, so you send us a check later on. I'm kidding. Joe?
So I'm Joe Theobald. I'm the principal at QI Roberts Junior Senior High School. And Mikey.
Yep. My name is Michael Helms. I am the STEM specialist for Putnam County School District. Well,
welcome to all of you. And I'm going to do something a little different today. And I was talking to Joe before the broadcast, and I know there's a lot of issues surrounding artificial intelligence that I think we want our audience to be aware of. And just kind of in this age right now of teaching kids about AI, just some of the issues surrounding that and how the district and QI Roberts specifically is addressing that. So, Joe, if you would, just kind of lead the discussion and bring all of our panel members in, if you would.
Absolutely. So we started about 3 years ago with a program where we partnered with professors throughout the country at really high-level universities who they were trying to develop a curriculum, and they partnered with us at QI Roberts to teach the course, to kind of do an introduction to artificial intelligence and design for our students in our computer science program. It was a good relationship. Then the second year, the state of Florida and the University of Florida kind of started some content writing, because the first year we were the only school in the state that was offering artificial intelligence instruction. So the second year they brought us in, they brought Chris Cantrell in to kind of help them start writing some standards. And we've done more learning about the process ourselves as far as what to offer the students and kind of what direction we can take it. But our computer science students are, at the top level, they're starting to learn some of the important building blocks of artificial intelligence and kind of what that will require of them as they pursue computer science at the next level at colleges and universities around the state and around the country. So it's definitely something that we're happy that we have our foot in the door. Our students are excited about it. And, having said that, I guess the guy who's doing it from a day-to-day basis, we should hear from him. So, Chris, fill us in with the details.
Yeah, so I basically, like Joe Theobald said, I first worked with Fuse Machines, and I kind of got an idea of like what I should be teaching high school students, but I wanted to kind of put a goal towards it. So that goal was get them Python certified. And then the other thing was I wanted like supplemental instruction, so we weren't just doing Python coding all the time. So I got in contact with the University of Florida, with Dr. Nancy Rizicki, And even Luis de Mendoza, who used to work with TEALS, I have a good connection with him. He actually works with UF now. So I worked with those folks to come up with new ideas for curriculum for AI instruction. AI is a pretty advanced topic, as we know. So it can be difficult to kind of bridge the gap for high school education in that field. I think my main priority was, number one, give them that opportunity for certification. And then number two was to just give them not only an awareness of what AI is and how it works, but also just helping them get basic foundational skills. So if they want to pursue it in college, they at least have a basis of knowledge. So one of the things I did was I had them do Python programming. And then we even got our feet wet in a couple AI topics, such as computer vision, natural language processing, and even a little bit of machine learning. So we actually worked in IDEs with PyCharm, with Visual Studio Code, and these are very advanced software that professionals use to actually work with neural networks and work with actual artificial intelligence. And I taught them a variety of things. Some of the projects we did were a chatbot. So I worked with some of the aeronautics kids, and the chatbot they created was to help a pilot have live instruction on what they should do while they're flying. So like they type in an input, and then it takes that input, and then it outputs what the pilot should do in a certain situation. It's kind of like an informational chatbot in a way. And then we also kind of looked at a basic self-driving car model where we outlined the roads through computer vision. So those are just a couple of things that we actually did in the classroom, and then just kind of the goal of it.
And I remember too, if I can just interject, Fuse Machines was actually, we partnered with them. A professor out of Columbia University was joining us virtually, worked with Chris, and I remember y'all did facial recognition as well. So that was kind of the introduction to that, but we've come a long ways since then, haven't we? So, Joe?
Another thing that I find interesting and something that we really are in the middle of is kind of this ethical problem with artificial intelligence. So we're definitely kind of cultivating the skills in our computer science students, but we also want to make sure that we're cultivating that understanding of how they can do the science with should they necessarily do the science. Just because you can do doesn't mean you should do. And part of that is building kind of ethics and virtue at our school. And I think it's fascinating that our one of the things that we offer, one of the things that we require is a course called Global Perspectives. Chris is one of our teachers in Global Perspectives in the 11th grade, which is a required course. The students have to pass it and the exam. And then Ian, not only does he teach the calculus, which is going to be a requirement for those students who are going into computer science at the college level, Ian teaches the A-level Global Perspectives. And so I thought it would be kind of interesting to have a discussion around the ethics of computer learning and where science is going. So, Ian?
Yeah, so one of the things that I took on this year with the A-level Global Perspectives, because Cambridge as an organization is actually very pro-AI. But they're pro-responsible AI usage. So what I did with my students, because at the AS level, they have a little more parameters about what they write about. But at the A level, they can almost write about anything. So it's kind of that when you have no parameters, it seems like the choices are infinite. So I kind of helped the students this year and kind of coached them through, okay, how can we use ChatGPT, Gemini, all of these AI tools to help us brainstorm, to be this extra person that you can be a part of that process. And the students have been very successful with that, but it's been just like when computers were new, we had to start teaching students how to type and word processing and all of that stuff. I mean, I remember in my middle school years, like we learned Word and PowerPoint. And I think that's the direction where we have kind of gone at QI, and where I think education is headed is this is just going to be another tool that we have to teach our students where that line is. Just like we've had to teach them of you can't take your person's paper next to you and turn it in for yourself, or you can't turn in your sibling's paper that they wrote it last year. It's just another tool that we have to teach our students how to use. But the students that are using it this year are able to find resources and find perspectives that there's no one in the class that would have been able to help them find that. And even me as the teacher wouldn't have been able to unlock that. Even as someone with a bunch of esoteric knowledge stored away, the depth that some of these students need to write a 5,000 word research paper just isn't there. So they've really been using that to do that process. And I've even used it with my calculus and showed some of my students that, like, hey, if you need extra problems, these AI engines understand what AP calculus is. So just ask it to give you 10 problems on whatever topic you're struggling with. And it's pretty good. I mean, there's every now and again you run into like almost garbage where you're like, that's not math. But for the most part, it works. And it's, just as accurate as any textbook that's going to have an error in it here or there.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And Mikey, I know that y'all are, the district is supporting us in our computer science programs. I know you've worked well with TEALS in the past, but what are some of the other ways that y'all have been able to help with our computer science progress?
Really, I think creating a pathway so that kids are exposed to it at a very young age. And so we're diving deeper and deeper into it. I mean, this is our third or fourth year in AI, and it's transformed a lot from just having Fuse Machine. Now Cantrell's working with UF to really kind of be on the forefront of creating standards for the state, because there's no standards for AI really for the state right now until they're working on it. So it's mutated a lot, and so for us, we're trying to expose kids to a very young age. It looks different, so it might just be basic machine learning where they're holding up a phone or holding up a ball and then holding up a card, and the actual camera is going to say, okay, when I hold up the ball, it's going to say it's a ball, and that's by taking many pictures. And then Chris is doing way advanced things. So it's just about exposing kids and having a feeder system. So kindergarten through fifth grade, they're going through a special. Sixth grade, they're going to it daily, and then by the time they hit Chris, they've been exposed to it. The main AI curriculum that we're using is WAS AI, and so we're WAS Pathway School District, and so that's really the stepping stones. They have different levels, and so by the time they get to Chris, they are getting certified, getting with Python and diving
And by the way,
into
just
it.
in case you don't know, WASED, their founder is Steve Wozniak,
Yep.
who's one of the original inventors of the personal computer, along with Steve Jobs.
Yep.
Well, and I think the support from the district and all the programs that we're able to offer at QI, through summer camps, through the other stuff the district does at the other schools, it's really exposing students to the mindset of AI, of engineering, of computer science. Because not only is it a foreign language, but you came at it from the outside too. Like, it's a mindset shift. It's a logic of how students have to think through things. So exposing that to them early and getting them through that, because where industry is going, whether it's a car, because with the electric car stuff, like, it's beyond just, can you change the oil now? Like, it's so much more, and it's so much more than what we can do for students in a K-12 setting. Yeah. But we can expose them and we can give them those problem-solving skills to go into that next step where they will get that additional information, whatever that is, whether it's trade school or Santa Fe or St. John's or UF or wherever, and be able to be successful. I know we've got several students that have graduated the last couple of years that are studying computer science at, or getting their prereqs to transfer to the major state universities to do computer science. And
I'm just really impressed, and I didn't realize we were one of the first districts to do AI back when we started, but it sounds like a lot of the work we're doing, especially Chris with those standards, that we're still on the cutting edge of this, even though we're trying to figure it all out. But I think it's thanks to your leadership there, I think there's some great things happening at QI. So,
well, and I think too, something like artificial intelligence and machine learning, I think if we can get used to being out past that edge and understand that we're going to be uncomfortable if we're a journalism major.
That's right.
We're going to be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But we can still piece it together, and we can still do the things that we need to do so that we can continue to offer up opportunities to our students and not think, well, we don't know quite how to do that yet, but we can absolutely learn with you because this is something that we all need to be ready to incorporate into our lives. So.
And I would love to be, to be able to be a model for that
Yeah.
from around the state. And also, as we come to kind of the conclusion today, can we get some final thoughts from each of you and just kind of on this conversation? And I think the whole thing about we are learning this too. We don't necessarily have it all figured out, but I think through our learning, we're going to be able to pass that on to our students and really help them think critically as they go out into the wild blue yonder. So let's start with Mike. Just some final thoughts about this.
Yeah, I think there's misconceptions with AI. I think part of that we have to expose kids to it and show them those misconceptions, what AI actually is, and then just having the teachers and the schools that are doing it and help supporting them. And I mean, here Chris's background, a journalism major, he's learning computer scientist, and I am biased because we work for Putnam, but I do think he's like one of the smartest people in Florida. I'm telling you, he's like, and for him to be doing what he's doing, it just shows you that anyone can do it if you put your mind to it. If you challenge yourself doing it, I mean, he's leading it, a class in AI, you know. So it's just. I think that want to and that exposure, and then just really working on the misconceptions of AI.
Did he say that the way you told him to say it?
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate it.
He didn't know I was saying that.
Chris, go ahead and final thoughts after hearing all that. And I'm going to ask Joe to kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
But Chris and then Ian.
Yeah, I like what Mikey said in terms of mindset. The only really background knowledge I had on AI or computer science was like my high school like networking program I did for Cisco, and we didn't even learn any programming in that. I think it's a mindset thing. I have kids who come to my class yearly who are in like my second or third level class, and they have no background. But then they end up being some of my best students, and then they go on to UF, and they're computer science majors. And so I think it goes back to the idea of if you have the right mindset and you get used to failing a lot, then you will eventually get over the hump and succeed. Because during these years I've been in the classroom doing this, there has been many a days that I have failed continuously, and debugging code is can be quite frustrating, especially for somebody who's new. So I think the mindset is the biggest takeaway for me.
When you fail fast, so you can learn from it and move on, right?
Exactly. I mean, with anything, especially AI, something as difficult as that, you got to fail before you can really learn.
That's a great perspective. Ian, final thoughts?
I think I really appreciate the support from the district, both with AI and a lot of the initiatives that we take on, because you, as the superintendent, are willing to trust your people to, as Joe said, to go out on that edge and to go past it. And to fail fast, but to find that success so that we can have the best educational opportunities for our students, for the betterment of our community. So I am really looking forward to where this goes, especially as I can continue to, work with the students to get their belief in themselves and their ability to do math and just to do hard things to grow, to get that confidence to fail and to get that confidence to grow. The future is bright for the students of Putnam County and their potential.
Well, as we always like to do quotes, John F. Kennedy says, when we were talking about going to the moon, we do it because we do things because they're hard, not because they're easy.
That's right.
And that's exactly what you portrayed there. So thanks. Joe, wrap us up today.
Well, if you have made it through this podcast talking about artificial intelligence, I will end it on a thoughtful note. I think the most important thing for us to remember as educators and as people with children and with an investment in schools is that you have to educate for the idea is that we're not producing young scientists so they can have a career. We definitely want that. But what we're really working towards is creating people who can use science to solve problems for people.
That's right.
And that's building in the ethics, that's building in the virtues and the values. And that's why a well-rounded, strong education is just so incredibly important to a community and to our country. So I say yes to AI and yes to the important learning and teaching that's happening, and make sure that they're doing the other things in a great liberal arts program to where they're learning how to be great people along the way.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks to all of you. And I'd really like to have y'all come back once maybe you find a spot to where, okay, we're now turning a corner. let's bring that out.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a process. So thanks to all you guys. I've learned a lot.
Thank you.
And when I'm around smart guys like this, I just try to be real quiet and learn myself. So thank you all for being here, okay? And that ends our podcast, and we'll see you next time.